Dr. Amanda Hayes stared through the reinforced windows of the Jupiter observation post, her breath creating small clouds on the transparent aluminum. The massive gas giant loomed before her, its swirling storms a constant reminder of nature's raw power. But it wasn't Jupiter that had captured her attention today. Instead, her eyes were fixed on the small, metallic object floating among the debris of the planet's rings. "Direct feed to my station. Now," she called out to her team, her voice steady despite the excitement threatening to overwhelm her professional demeanor. The holographic display sprang to life, showing the object in crystal-clear detail. It was unlike anything human engineers had ever designed, its surface covered in geometric patterns that seemed to shift and change as they watched. Behind her, Dr. Thomas Reeves, her senior research partner, let out a low whistle. "Please tell me that's not what I think it is." "If you're thinking it's proof that we're not alone," Amanda replied, her fingers dancing across the holographic controls, "then I can't tell you that. Because this, my friend, is definitely not human tech." The discovery should have been their crowning achievement. Instead, it became the beginning of a mystery that would change humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. As they studied the object over the next few weeks, they found more of them. Dozens, then hundreds, scattered throughout the solar system. Some were ancient, others surprisingly recent. Meanwhile, 40 light-years away, High Scholar Vithor of the Galactic Council was preparing his regular report on Sol 3, known to its inhabitants as Earth. His tentacles moved gracefully over the control panel as he compiled his findings. "Species shows remarkable development in arts and culture," he dictated to his assistant. "Their care for injured wildlife and preservation of natural habitats indicates a highly developed sense of empathy. Most notably, they appear to lack the aggressive colonial expansion common to developing species." What Vithor failed to notice was the pattern that Dr. Hayes and her team were beginning to piece together. The alien probes hadn't just been watching. They'd been cataloging every human conflict, every technological breakthrough, and every sign of military development. But their programming, designed to look for traditional signs of warfare, like large standing armies or space-based weapons, had missed the subtle ways humans had evolved to become the ultimate adaptable species. In her private lab aboard the station, Amanda made another breakthrough. "The probes," she explained to her small team, "they're not just observing. They're actively scanning for specific threat patterns, but they're using alien parameters. They don't understand what they're really looking at." Dr. Reeves leaned forward, his eyes fixed on the data streaming across their screens. "You mean they're missing the forest for the trees?" "Exactly," Amanda said, pulling up an image of Earth's internet infrastructure. "They see our global computer network and register it as a communication tool. They don't recognize it as the nervous system of a potential war machine. They see our space program as scientific exploration, not the first steps toward military space capability." The team made a crucial decision that day. Instead of announcing their discovery to the world, they quietly contacted a select group within NASA and the military. If someone was watching humanity, perhaps it was best to let them underestimate us for now. As they worked, High Scholar Vithor was finalizing his report to the Council. "Recommend classification as a Class 3 developing world, suitable for future protection and guidance. While they show remarkable technical progress, their peaceful nature and lack of natural defenses suggest they will require assistance to survive in the greater galaxy." Little did Vithor know that in a lab orbiting Jupiter, Dr. Hayes was already proving him wrong. Her team had begun to decode the probe's transmission protocols. Soon, they would not only be able to track the Watchers, but also feed them carefully crafted misinformation. The game was about to change, and humanity's first move would be to continue playing the role of the peaceful, primitive species, while secretly preparing for a future that the Galactic Council never saw coming. Earth wasn't a peaceful planet because its inhabitants were weak. It was peaceful because its apex predators had evolved beyond the need for constant conflict, but had never lost their ability to fight when necessary. Colonel Jack Morrison adjusted his dress blues as he stood at the edge of the landing zone, the New York skyline gleaming behind him in the morning sun. Secret Service agents and Special Forces teams were hidden throughout the area, their presence known only to a select few. The public had been told this was a routine UN assembly. Nobody mentioned the alien delegation about to make history. Atmospheric entry detected. The voice of Lieutenant Jessica Parker crackled through his earpiece. From her position in the newly established Space Command Center, she was tracking the alien vessel's descent. They're following the agreed-upon flight path. Sir. The ship that emerged from the clouds was nothing like the crude sketches based on recovered probe data. It was elegant, its hull seeming to shift colors as it moved, like oil on water. Morrison maintained his stoic expression, but his mind was already cataloging every detail for the engineers waiting to review his report. Dr. Elizabeth Walker stepped forward, her red power suit a stark contrast to the military uniforms around her. As head of the Human-Alien Relations Committee, she had spent months preparing for this moment. Remember, she whispered to Morrison, we're the primitive species here. Let's keep it that way. The ship's landing was silent, no engine roar or thrust jets, just a gentle descent that defied everything they knew about physics. A delegation of 5 beings emerged, their bodies covered in ceremonial robes that sparkled with embedded technology. The leader, who had identified himself as Ambassador Zixtel, approached with measured steps. Greetings, children of Earth. The ambassador's words were translated through a device that made them sound almost musical. The Galactic Council welcomes you to the greater community of spacefaring species. Morrison caught the subtle condescension in the term children, but his face remained pleasant. Dr. Walker stepped forward, performing the greeting ritual they had learned from the diplomatic package. We are honored by your presence, she said, her voice carrying the perfect mix of awe and respect. Behind her, teams of scientists were already running passage scans, gathering data on everything from the aliens' technology to their biology. The reception at the United Nations was a masterpiece of misdirection. Dr. Walker had arranged displays of Earth's greatest cultural achievements, art, music, literature, while carefully omitting anything that might suggest military capability. The alien delegates moved from exhibit to exhibit, their expressions unreadable, but their body language suggesting approval. Your species shows remarkable potential, Ambassador Zixtel commented to Morrison during the reception. With proper guidance, you could become a valuable member of the galactic community. Morrison nodded, playing his role perfectly. We have much to learn, he said, watching as a team of engineers covertly scanned the ambassador's personal shield device. Your technology is far beyond our understanding. But that wasn't entirely true. Even as they spoke, Dr. Walker's team was analyzing every piece of data they could gather. The aliens' translation devices, their environmental suits, their ship's hull material, all were being studied and cataloged for future research. Later that night, in a secure underground facility, Morrison met with the Joint Chiefs. They think we're harmless, he reported, a hint of satisfaction in his voice. Their protective stance isn't just diplomatic. They genuinely believe we need their protection. Perfect, General Thompson replied, studying the preliminary reports. Dr. Walker's team has already identified several technologies we can reverse engineer. The aliens' overconfidence is our greatest asset. As the meeting concluded, Dr. Walker made one final observation. They see what they expect to see, she said, pulling up images from the day's events. A young species, peacefully developing, in need of guidance. They don't realize that every piece of technology they show us, every bit of knowledge they share, is being absorbed and adapted by the most resource-efficient predatory species in known space. The alien delegation left Earth 3 days later, their report to the Council glowing with praise for humanity's peaceful nature and cultural achievements. They never noticed the small tracking devices hidden in their gift packages, or the fact that their ship's navigation data had been quietly copied during refueling. Humanity had passed its first test in galactic diplomacy, not by showing their strength, but by hiding it in plain sight. Marcus Reynolds stood in his private laboratory deep within Reynolds Industries' Colorado complex, his eyes fixed on the holographic display before him. What started as a failed quantum computing experiment had led to something far more significant. The crystal matrix on his workbench pulsed, with an inner light that shouldn't have been possible according to known physics, at least known human physics. "Run the simulation again," he commanded, his voice steady despite the excitement coursing through him. The AI system compiled the data, showing energy patterns that matched those observed in the alien ambassador's translation device 3 months ago. Across the country, Lieutenant Emily Blackwood was making her own breakthrough at the Space Force's Advanced Detection Facility. Her team had been studying the frequency patterns of background radiation when they noticed something odd, regular distortions that appeared and disappeared in precise patterns. "It's like seeing a shadow without the object casting it," she explained to her superior, Colonel James Martinez. "These distortions matched the energy signatures we recorded during the diplomatic visit. They're cloaked observers, sir, and they're everywhere." The colonel's face remained impassive, but his eyes narrowed. "How long until we can track them reliably?" Emily allowed herself a small smile. "We already can. But that's not the best part." She pulled up another display. "We've figured out how their cloaking technology works, and Mr. Reynolds' new quantum crystal technology might just let us build our own version." Meanwhile, in the Galactic Council's observation post, Senior Observer Kraltex was growing increasingly concerned. His latest report highlighted several anomalies in human technological development. "Their progress is accelerating beyond predicted parameters," he noted in his log. "They've begun producing materials that should be beyond their current capability." What Kraltex didn't know was that every piece of alien technology that came near Earth was being studied, analyzed, and reverse-engineered by teams of Earth's brightest minds. Reynolds Industries had become the front for a global effort to adapt and improve upon alien technology, with Marcus Reynolds' public image as an eccentric billionaire providing perfect cover for the operation. "The beauty of it," Marcus explained to a select committee of military and scientific leaders, "is that they don't understand how we think. Their technology develops in straight lines, each discovery building directly on the last. Humans." He grinned, pulling up a display of his latest project. "We think in webs. We take concepts from one field and apply them to another. We make connections they'd never consider." The display showed a new type of computer architecture that combined Earth's silicon-based technology with principles observed in alien quantum systems. It wasn't just a copy of alien tech, it was something new, something that took the best of both worlds and created something greater. Lieutenant Blackwood's team had already begun installing the first generation of human-made cloaking devices on special operations satellites. The aliens' own surveillance network now had blind spots, and they didn't even know it. "They're still watching us through their traditional methods," she reported, "monitoring our communications, observing our official space program. But they're missing everything we're doing in the shadows." The Council's concern grew as reports of human advancement continued to pour in. Their industries were becoming more efficient, their computer systems more powerful, their material science taking unexplained leaps forward. But each development, when examined individually, could be explained away as natural progress. In his private office, Marcus Reynolds reviewed the latest data from his global research network. The quantum crystal technology had already been miniaturized and was being integrated into everything from communication systems to power generation. Earth's technology was evolving, not in the linear path the aliens expected, but in an explosive web of innovation and adaptation. "They think we're copying their homework," he mused to his AI assistant. "They don't realize we're rewriting the entire textbook." The Silicon Revolution was well underway, and humanity's first steps toward technological independence were being taken right under the noses of their would-be protectors. The galaxy would soon learn that understanding human technology wasn't just about understanding the tools they built. It was about understanding the unique way humans could take any idea and transform it into something new and unexpected. General Jack Morrison watched the holographic display from his command center deep within Olympus Mons, his expression unreadable as the Croxar mining fleet entered Mars orbit. 5 years of preparation, countless resources, and the most elaborate military deception in human history had led to this moment. The aliens had taken the bait, dismissing Earth's diplomatic protests as the impotent objections of a primitive species. "All units report ready," Colonel Rebecca Torres announced from her station. The underground command center hummed with controlled energy as hundreds of personnel monitored their stations. "Dust storm systems are at optimal levels." Morrison allowed himself a small smile. "Remember, everyone, we're the primitive species that doesn't understand modern warfare. Let's make sure we play our part." The Croxar fleet was impressive. 12 capital ships and their support vessels, all bristling with technology far beyond Earth's official capabilities. Their first communication was predictably condescending. "Inhabitants of Sol 3, the Croxar commander's message boomed through the command center. Your claims to the fourth planet are unrecognized by galactic law. Withdraw your primitive mining operations, and we will consider allowing you limited access once our facilities are established." Morrison's response was perfectly crafted. The video showed him in what appeared to be a basic office, with intentionally visible old technology in the background. "Please," he said, his voice carrying just the right amount of desperation. "Mars is critical to our development. We have families living there." The Croxar commander cut the transmission. Just as expected, the first mining ships began their descent through the Martian atmosphere. They never noticed the microscopic swarms of nanotech sensors monitoring their every move, or the fact that the famous Martian dust storms had been weaponized years ago. "They're in position," Torres reported. "All ships have crossed the engagement line." Morrison nodded. "Execute Operation Red Sands." The first sign that something was wrong came when the Croxar ship shields began to flicker. The specialized dust particles, enhanced with reversed-engineered alien technology, were systematically disrupting their shield frequencies. "By the void!" The Croxar commander's startled exclamation was broadcast across all channels as hidden silos across the Martian surface opened, revealing banks of advanced missile systems that definitely weren't in the official Earth technology database. The real surprise came from above. Dozens of stealth platforms, hidden in Mars orbit using human-modified cloaking technology, decloaked simultaneously. Their weapons were a hybrid of human innovation and reversed-engineered alien tech, designed specifically to target the weaknesses in Croxar shield systems. "Multiple direct hits," Torres reported, her voice professional, despite the excitement. "Their shields are failing exactly as predicted. Boarding teams are go." That was the part that really shocked the Croxar. Human ships, using gravity manipulation technology that Earth shouldn't have had for centuries, emerged from hidden docks beneath the Martian surface. Marine teams, wearing combat suits that combined human durability with alien tech, began boarding operations on the disabled ships. Morrison watched as years of planning came together. The Croxar had expected to face a primitive species with basic space capability. Instead, they found themselves against an enemy that had studied them, prepared for them, and developed countermeasures for every advantage they thought they had. "Send the signal," he ordered as the last Kroxar ship surrendered. Across the galaxy, in the Galactic Council chamber, the emergency session was interrupted by a simple message. "The Sol system is protected. All claims must be verified through Earth diplomatic channels." The Council watched in stunned silence as the battle data streamed in. Humanity had not just defeated a superior force. They had done it with technology that shouldn't have been possible for their development level. In his command center, Morrison reviewed the after-action reports. Not a single human casualty, 12 captured capital ships with minimal damage, and a clear message sent to the galaxy. Earth was not the primitive, helpless species they all thought it was. "Send word to Reynolds Industries," he ordered. "Tell them they have some new toys to play with." The captured ships would provide years of technological insights, all because the Kroxar had made the same mistake as the Council. They had underestimated humanity's capacity for innovation, adaptation, and tactical brilliance. Dr. James Thompson stood before the massive viewport of the UES Prometheus, Earth's first true deep space vessel. The stars streaked by in ways that defied traditional physics. His hybrid drive system, combining human nuclear technology with captured alien fold space principles in ways the Council had deemed impossible. Power levels holding steady at 87%. Lieutenant Sarah Chen reported from her engineering station. "The Thompson protocol is performing better than expected." "Sir." The protocol, as it had come to be known, wasn't just a new drive system. It was a complete reimagining of how space travel could work. By using human nuclear physics as a foundation and building alien tech on top of it, Thompson had created something entirely new. "Begin recording," he spoke to the ship's eye. "Project Phoenix, Day 45. The integration of human fission principles with Kroxar fold technology has exceeded our initial projections. Where their systems required massive energy inputs for single jumps, our hybrid drive maintains a constant field using minimal power." On the bridge, Captain Sarah Mitchell reviewed the latest navigation data. The Prometheus had already visited 3 systems that should have been well beyond their reach. The Council's observers were going to have a hard time explaining this one to their superiors. "Message from Earth Command," her communications officer announced. "Reynolds Industries reports successful testing of the new shielding systems. All production facilities are being upgraded." Mitchell nodded, understanding the implications. Earth's industrial base was evolving faster than anyone had expected. The captured Kroxar ships had provided a wealth of technology to study, but it was humanity's unique approach to that technology that was changing the game. In the ship's main laboratory, Thompson and his team were already working on the next innovation. Holographic displays showed the complex interactions between human and alien technologies, with simulation after simulation testing new combinations. The Council never considered this approach because it violated their basic principles of technology development. Thompson explained to a group of young engineers. "They build in straight lines, one discovery leading to the next in a predictable pattern. We build in networks, taking ideas from multiple sources and combining them in new ways." The ship's sudden alarm brought everyone to alert status. They had emerged from fold space near an unexplored system, only to find themselves in the middle of what appeared to be a standoff between 2 alien fleets. 3 hive mind collective ships and 2 Krix defense platforms. Mitchell reported, her voice calm despite the tension. Both species were known to the Council, both considered too dangerous for regular contact. Instead of retreating, Mitchell made a bold decision. The Prometheus moved between the 2 forces, its hybrid shields glowing with a combination of nuclear-powered energy and alien deflection technology. "This is Captain Sarah Mitchell of the Earth ship Prometheus. She broadcast on all frequencies. Perhaps we can help mediate this situation." The resulting negotiations would go down in galactic history. Humanity's unique perspective, combined with technology that neither side could quite understand, led to a peaceful resolution and the first trade agreements between these species and Earth. Back in the council chambers, the reports caused near panic. Humanity had not only developed impossible technology, but was now successfully mediating between species that the Council had failed to connect with for centuries. They're adapting too quickly, one Council member argued. Their technology is beginning to exceed our predictions by orders of magnitude. What the Council didn't understand was that this was just the beginning. In his lab aboard the Prometheus, Thompson was already working on the next phase. The holographic displays showed something new, a combination of human quantum computing, alien energy systems, and principles derived from both that promised to revolutionize galactic technology once again. The Thompson Protocol isn't just about space travel, he told his team as they prepared to return to Earth. It's about showing the galaxy that human innovation isn't limited by what others think is possible. We don't just copy technology. We transform it into something new. As the Prometheus folded back into Earth space, the galaxy was beginning to realize that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their ability to learn alien technology. It was their ability to take that technology and make it into something the original creators had never imagined possible. Dr. Michael Harrison stood before the Galactic Council's chamber, his presentation already 3 hours longer than any species had expected him to maintain coherent speech. The council members shifted uncomfortably in their environmental pods, many having expected to witness a brief, primitive analysis of human biology. Instead, they were getting a masterclass in evolution that would change their understanding of Earth forever. And so we come to the most fascinating aspect of human physiology, Harrison continued, his voice strong despite the marathon presentation. Our endurance running capabilities. While many species evolved for sprint hunting or ambush tactics, humans developed something unique, persistence hunting. The holographic display showed ancient humans pursuing prey across open savannas. The council members watched in growing horror as the simulation demonstrated how early humans would simply follow their prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. But surely this is ancient history, council member Zixtal interrupted, their tentacles writhing in discomfort. Your species has evolved beyond such primitive methods. Harrison's smile made several council members flinch. Actually, these capabilities are still very much part of our biology. Allow me to demonstrate. He pulled up his medical readings, showing his vital signs throughout the presentation. Notice how my body has been actively cooling itself, maintaining optimal function for hours. I could continue this presentation for several more days if necessary. The chamber erupted in murmurs. Most species could only maintain peak mental function for a few hours at most. The idea of days-long sustained activity was alien to them. But that's not all, Harrison continued, bringing up new displays. Our healing capabilities are equally unique. While many species evolved to avoid injury at all costs, humans evolved to recover from it. The medical data he presented showed human bone knitting back together, muscle tissue regenerating, and the complex immune system that made it all possible. We don't just heal, we often come back stronger. A broken bone, properly healed, can become stronger at the break point. Torn muscles, given time to recover, build back with greater capacity. Council member Krithak, known for their military expertise, leaned forward. You mean to tell us that injury makes you more formidable? Within reason, yes, Harrison confirmed. But perhaps the most remarkable aspect of human biology is our adaptability to different environments and diets. The display shifted to show human settlements from the Arctic to the equator. There is hardly a climate on Earth where humans haven't found a way to not just survive, but thrive. The data on human dietary capabilities caused several council members to request brief recesses. The idea of a species that could process such a wide variety of organic matter even substances toxic to most life forms, was deeply unsettling. In conclusion, Harrison said, now 5 hours into his presentation, humans aren't peaceful because we lack natural weapons or defensive capabilities. We're peaceful because we've evolved beyond the need for constant conflict. But make no mistake, every adaptation that made us apex predators on Earth is still very much part of our biology. The council chamber had gone deathly quiet. The implications were staggering. Every assessment of human capabilities had been based on the assumption that they were a naturally peaceful, perhaps even timid species. Now they were learning that humans were persistent predators with enhanced healing, environmental adaptation, and the ability to maintain peak performance for periods that most species would consider impossible. One final note, Harrison added, his voice carrying a weight that made every council member pay attention. Everything I've shown you today, that's just our natural biology. Imagine what these same traits mean when combined with our technology. As Harrison left the chamber, the council erupted into urgent discussions. They had just realized that the species they'd planned to protect was actually one of the most naturally dangerous life forms ever encountered, and they had been inadvertently helping them advance their technology for years. In his private chamber, Harrison transmitted a brief message back to Earth. Presentation complete. They finally understand what they're dealing with. Recommend proceeding with Phase 7. The galaxy was about to learn that understanding human biology was key to understanding why Earth had remained peaceful for so long. Not out of weakness, but out of choice. Admiral Rebecca Torres stood on the bridge of the UES Nemesis, her expression grim as reports of harvester attacks flooded the neural network. The enemy had expected easy prey when they first struck the outer colonies. Instead, they had awakened something that the galaxy had never seen before: humanity's full military potential. Status report on Operation Hunting Ground, she commanded, her voice carrying across the bridge with steel-like authority. Commander Jason Wright, her tactical officer, brought up the strategic display. Phase 1 complete, Admiral. Our scattered fleet has drew them into pursuing individual task forces. The harvesters think they're chasing wounded prey. The plan was unlike anything in standard military doctrine. While other species fought with concentrated fleet actions, humanity had drawn upon its ancient hunting tactics. They had split their forces into small, highly mobile units that seemed to flee in terror from the harvester fleets. Confirmation from Task Force Delta. Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez reported from communications. They've successfully baited the 3rd Harvester Fleet into the Artemis sector. Admiral Chen's forces are in position. Torres allowed herself a small smile. The harvesters had never encountered a species that fought like humans. They expected their prey to either stand and fight or run and hide. Instead, humanity was doing something else entirely. They were leading their enemy into a trap, just as their ancestors had done with large prey on the African savannas. All task forces report ready, Wright announced. The harvesters have committed 90% of their fleet to the pursuit. They think they're about to destroy our forces in detail. Execute Phase 2, Torres ordered. Let's show them what it means to be hunted by humans. Across 3 sectors of space, the trap was sprung. Hidden weapons platforms, cloaked using advanced human-modified technology, decloaked simultaneously. The supposedly scattered human fleet suddenly moved with perfect coordination, their apparent retreat transforming into a complex series of pincer movements. Multiple harvester ships reporting shield failures, Rodriguez called out. The Thompson Protocol modifications to our weapons are working. Their adaptive defenses can't compensate. The harvesters had built their empire on the ability to adapt to any weapon used against them. But they had never faced weapons that changed frequency and pattern with each shot, using human quantum computing to generate random variables faster than their systems could analyze. They're trying to regroup, Wright reported, a note of satisfaction in his voice. but their command and control structure is breaking down. They're not used to fighting an enemy that attacks from all directions at once. Torres watched as the battle unfolded according to plan. The Harvesters had superior numbers and technology, but humanity had something they didn't understand. The instincts of a planet's apex predator combined with technology that had evolved beyond anything the galaxy had expected. Message from the Harvester command ship. Rodriguez announced, surprise evident in her voice. They're asking for terms of surrender. The bridge fell silent. The Harvesters had never surrendered before. In all their known history, they had either won or fought to the last ship. Send them our terms, Torres ordered, and make sure they understand. This was just our opening move. If they ever threaten human space again, we won't stop at defense. Later, in her private quarters, Torres reviewed the battle data with General Morrison via quantum link. The Council's observers are in a state of shock, Morrison reported. They never expected us to not just defeat the Harvesters, but to do it so thoroughly. They still don't understand, Torres replied. They think this was about superior technology or tactics. They don't realize that everything we did today came from instincts burned into our species over millions of years of evolution. As reports of the battle spread across the galaxy, other species began to understand what the Council had realized during Dr. Harrison's presentation. Humans weren't just another spacefaring race. They were persistent predators who had taken their natural hunting strategies and applied them to warfare on a galactic scale. The last line had been drawn, and the galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had proven that they weren't just capable of defending themselves. They were capable of hunting down and destroying any threat to their existence, no matter how powerful. Ambassador David Anderson walked through the newly reconstructed council chambers, his footsteps echoing off walls that now incorporated both alien and human architectural styles. The chamber had been redesigned to accommodate all species comfortably, a small but significant symbol of the changes sweeping through galactic society. The defense integration proposal has full support from the Outer Rim worlds, his assistant, Maria Reyes, reported as they moved toward the central platform. After the Harvester War, even the most isolationist species are willing to consider human military doctrine. Anderson nodded, reviewing the latest reports on his neural link. The galaxy had changed dramatically in the year since the Harvester's defeat. The old power structure, based on technological advancement and ancient traditions, had given way to something new, something that recognized the value of human innovation and adaptability. Representatives from the Hive Mind Collective have arrived early, Maria added. They're particularly interested in the new joint training programs. The main chamber was already filling with delegates from across the galaxy. Species that had once viewed each other with suspicion or hostility now sat together, united by the understanding that the old ways of doing things had nearly led to their destruction. High Scholar Vathor, now one of Anderson's strongest allies, approached with an air of amused resignation. I was just reviewing my first report on humanity, the alien admitted. How completely we misunderstood your species. We saw your art, your music, your care for others, and we thought it meant weakness. A common mistake, Anderson replied with a smile, seeing peace as the absence of strength rather than the application of it. The council session opened with a presentation on the new Galactic Defense Initiative. Holographic displays showed the integration of human military tactics with various species' traditional combat doctrines. What had once been seen as primitive human strategies were now recognized as sophisticated approaches that had evolved over millions of years. The key to our success, Anderson explained to the assembled delegates, is not that we're stronger or more advanced than other species. It's that we never stop adapting, never stop learning, and never accept that something is impossible just because it hasn't been done before. The evidence was clear in the projects already underway. Reynolds Industries had partnered with alien manufacturing centers to create new hybrid technologies. The Thompson Protocol had been shared with allied species, leading to breakthroughs in transportation and energy production. Even Dr. Harrison's medical research was being applied to help other species enhance their natural healing abilities. "We're not here to dominate," Anderson continued, his voice carrying the weight of human history. "We're here to collaborate." Earth remained peaceful not because we couldn't fight, but because we learned the greater strength of working together. The chamber's atmosphere had changed. Where once there had been fear or condescension toward humans, now there was respect, and more importantly, understanding. Admiral Torres, attending as Earth's military representative, added her own perspective. "The Harvester War taught us all a valuable lesson. It's not about who has the most advanced technology or the largest fleet. It's about being able to adapt, to think differently, and to work together." As the session concluded, Anderson received a priority message from Earth. The first joint human-alien research facility had just made a breakthrough in understanding the nature of spacetime itself. It was yet another example of how human creativity combined with alien knowledge could push the boundaries of what was possible. "We've come a long way from being the primitive species that needed protection," Maria observed as they left the chamber. Anderson watched the various species mingling in the Great Hall, sharing ideas and making plans for the future. "We haven't changed who we are," he said. "The galaxy has just finally understood what that means. We were never the peaceful species they thought we were. We were the apex predators who chose peace because we were strong enough to make that choice." The stars shone brightly through the chamber's transparent dome, a reminder of the vast frontier that still lay ahead. Humanity had emerged from its cradle, not as the galaxy had expected, not as helpless children needing guidance, but as guardians ready to help shape a better future for all species.